Hello again. So this one's gonna be a quickie on Unit 00 or prototype Unit 0 from Evangelion with Technique Impossible from Koda Rukia. Yay. So what I've done, I built the torso. Excuse me, I don't really want to take it off because it was kind of a pain in the butt to put it in, but I'll show you the instruction manual. And don't be like me because I broke or cut the piece. Here's the biggest problem with this kit. Do not cut anything off until you see a little bit of hang, or like it doesn't fit in nicely, because especially with this, I had to replace it with 3mm tubes because I cut them both too short. And yes, I'm using super glue because regular glue does not work because it's not regular plastic. And this stuff is harder than you think. I mean softer than you think, so it's just meh. Then I'll get into the arm later, but the arm is probably my favorite part other than that. So get started. So like it says, you need glue sometimes, not all the time. Be careful with that. In the instructions, it can be complicated. Yes, do that, especially for the metal pieces. So start off with the torso. This is some nice engineering. First step is look on the left side of the page and then build the neck joint, and then pay attention to what it tells you to cut off, and just make sure that you do that because you don't want to cut off the wrong parts. And you are limited for this. You only have 4 of them. I messed up 2 of them, so that means one of them I messed up is in here, and then the other one doesn't have the bottom peg. So getting down to 2 of them are in really good condition though. But start off, what that comes or becomes is this neck joint. So you do have to cut some of it off. I mean, I haven't put anything on, so I can't say the posability. I mean, other than it swivels, it turns, yay. And then yes, you do have to use a lot of screws. And by the way, the only way I was able to cut them off is with my nippers, but because I used my nippers, that means I have to buy new ones after this. I already broke off the tip, so it's not fun. And then like the instructions say, leave just enough on. On some of them, I leave maybe 2 to 3mm. On the other ones, I make them smooth. And then on some, I just leave a little too much, leave a little too little, but always be able to feel a bump. That is what I will say. If you do not feel a bump, then you have cut too short. And this is one I messed up, almost messed up on, but this was the second time before I cut it. Actually, don't cut these. I'll show you what part it's on, but I'll also show you the posability later and why some things are on here that shouldn't, which is just that piece, which is just a holder. I said to put that on, but whatever. So you're pretty much just building this, which is the first part. It's very simple, very easy. The longest part that I would say was PCD9, just cutting off those sides and making them fit into the top there. These 2 pieces, it's just and of course screwing it in. And do pay attention to PCA5 where it's supposed to go into that hole. Don't cut any of it off. Or actually, it says cut to 2mm. I say do not cut it to what that says. Put it in, measure how much is excess, and then cut that. But also, don't just cut it perfectly. Cut a little bit above the line so you do not become like me and cut it too short. That's what happened with the arm, even though it's not a problem. It's better to have some than to not. And then it's very simple. I would say first, of course you're gonna start with that, but to plug these 2 sides in on there, and then put the bottoms on, put the other part, put EVA1 on, screw it in, make sure that's all nice and tight. Make sure you cut those just so that it can fit and the screw doesn't get in the way. And then put AC5 on, and then you get that, which is still pretty nice. I don't know what it's really gonna do. I know that those are 2 holes for shoulders. This might be for the entry plug, so that means this has to be for the neck. This has to be for the clavicle section, or I don't know, sternum area. And then this is the spine, so what goes in here, or that part, it goes down here where the waistline is, and then the hips are right here, but the hips are a totally different section. And then you get to mix them like this. But do pay attention to that, because it has to be the protruding side up instead of the smooth side, just because you want to lay flush on the part. Screws, you're gonna have to cut that off, obviously. So the PCJ3, that one, or both of those, so none of them are thick enough to really hold it in tight. That's what the screws are there for. So just keep that in mind. If you want to thicken them up, I wouldn't suggest it, but I'm not you, so be you. Just please don't mess up, because this is really, if you mess one thing up, you can, I messed this part up, or one of these parts, and then it was just a pain to put back. Actually, no, I messed up this part a little bit, and then that part mostly. So that couldn't connect, so that means it was just hanging on by literal thread. Then I just got sick of it and super glued it, because stuff ain't regular plastic. And then so again, just put some screws in. I would say to start with this section first, just because when you get to that, it's just a little bit easier. I mean, of course, to me, this is all easy. Do this part first so you can slap it on, put the screw in, then you won't have to worry about it, and then you can start up. Then you'll build the spine into the back of the neck or the head. And then you get to the ab or torso section where the bend mostly comes from. And those are 2 metal rods that they say you put in, but I have no idea how to put them in, so I didn't. And then you get this. And then tricky part, so the body gloves. So torso on the top, actually look. So do pay attention to how it tells you to cut these. I'll just show you on mine. But still, a little bit of super glue got onto the, gosh dang it, it just broke again. So, excuse me. I know it's not the best for a YouTube video, but whatever. So, I broke it. Supposed to go in like so. My gosh, this is just, I hate myself for doing this, but it's not gonna work. It's not. I messed up bad. This is what you get. And then you're supposed to put, I was gonna show you how to cut it, but whatever, pretty sure you get it. This will just be a scrap build again. Cut it like it says, don't cut too far or else you're gonna get a weird looking piece of plastic. Of course, the legs, or yeah, the hip section, cut where it needs to. And then this goes on top, this goes underneath like it says. So now onto the arms. That part is this section. These 2 plug in, it's a shoulder. Kind of like where your axilla is, 2 tendons that go to your bicep or under your bicep. That's what this is supposed to represent. This is obviously the shoulder and the shoulder girdle. Fun stuff. So, biggest tip I would say about this is to, like it says, put that in first, then put it in, make everything go straight. Make sure that is in the right place. It goes in the second hole in the top, not in the first hole or in any of the bottom ones. This one goes on the bottom. Then that's pretty much it for that. For this, do not cut that at all. Stick it through there and then start to put it together. And also with the screws, do not put them too tight, because then you get something like this, where the top starts to break apart, or it just doesn't look right. And I have nothing else for that except pay attention to the big side and the small side, and then you should be fine. Then PCH1, which is just that joint, you don't really need it, but I don't like the split, so whatever. And then this one is this. I have no idea what it is for, but again, do not cut that. I get that mine is not straight one bit, but it's better to have it than to not have it. And this is just the first time I'm building it. This one, I messed up bad. I really did. And now on to the arm. Be careful with this because the metal rods broke my nippers. This is where I broke the tips off. So it says cut that to 4 millimeters. Cut to 4.5, 4 to 5 millimeters. Give yourself a little extra space. So how it goes is, so I'm gonna put the two top pieces together. What I did was I put the PCD8 in there, and then I put the two pieces together, put the screw in, clip that off, and then I put EVF2 in there, and this is where the fun begins. So I would highly recommend you just put everything together. Put PCD8 and EVF2 together, then EVF1. That actually came a little bit later, but after that, this is where you need the metal rods. So cut 4 of them. I would say about 6 to 7 millimeters long. And then you're gonna need a 2 millimeter drill at least. Are those birds outside? Probably, excuse that. So you can have a little excess like me. And then you just use your X-Acto knife or scissors to cut it off. Excuse the blur. And then yeah, you get this section. And then what I did was, so you gotta put the metal rod, so put it on one side first. Put the metal rod through each of the 4 holes, put it through top one, front middle, bottom middle, and then bottom back. And it'll make it much easier. And then you can just slap on the other side, put in the screw so it holds it together, holds all the pieces together, or put in metal rods on both sides, put this in, glue it, and then put the screw in for a secure connection. And mine doesn't have that big of a seam line, which is good, but if yours does, just maybe you need to tighten it a little bit. Remember, this is an elbow joint, so it does need to be and feel a little tight, but this is the posability going in. Oops, I didn't show the posability of the other ones. And then this is it going straight. And the biggest problem I have with this is the wrist, because on the plate it comes out too big. So I decided to sand it, which I sanded it a little too much, and now the thing is just loose. Then by the way, you have to drill this. I went to a 3 to a 4 millimeter peg. And then yeah, do it pretty deep, at least. I don't even know how far that is, but I'll say do it enough to where you can put it on this peg and it's pretty flush, because when you put that on, I would highly recommend it to not poke out. And then this PCB7, the thing is, like, you can even tell by the directions, it is way too big for that. So do know that you will have to sand it, or else you're gonna get a bigger seam line than me. And this is me sanding it all the way to a point where it's loose in there, so it's not even separating it. I fixed the holes where these are big enough to have those pads slide into it, and it still has a gap. So you need plot plate, or if not plot plates, clay to fill in the inside. Use heavy duty glue. Again, just, I can't say enough that do not use regular glue. Do not use regular plastic glue on this. It is not going to work. It is not worth it. And then those are the 3 hands. Pretty nice, but you need to drill a hole in it. But So here's the one that I worked on first. So after I clipped them. So posability, it's, oh my gosh. I just broke it again. Yeah, so this is definitely a scrap build, but so it can move. Gosh dang it, that makes me mad. So it can move. Yeah, I can do all this fun stuff. I can't believe I'm doing this. Freaking YouTube. So I'm done with playing with it. I'll show the other one. So goes up ever so gently, like that. It can rotate. And then it was complicated, but still nice. I ain't rotating now, I'm done dealing with this shit. And then it can go up that far. I'll show you what it looks like inside the body glove. Or for another video. I'm just getting really sick of this. And then this. I have no idea what it's for, but I guess it looks cool. Gosh dang it. I can't believe I have to put this thing in a single pose. And then I can never touch it again. Use me as an example and freaking learn, please. Do not do what I do. Thanks for dropping by. Next, I'll be showing you the legs. And then the feet. Oh my gosh, that actually looks a little complicated. And then putting it together, and then putting everything together, and then striking a pose. Yay. This thing is just a hot jumbled mess. I'm not too sure I'm gonna work on it today, but I don't know. By the way, that's the little thing that beside in there, I thought it was trash, so I just threw it away. Yay. But you can add a diamond or something in there, and I think I'm just gonna pose it and leave it in that. I ain't gonna mess with it. I'm done. Thank you again for watching. I'll post another one soon. See ya.